Every Sunday, millions of Americans gather in churches seeking hope, healing, and a sense of belonging. But behind the stained glass and soaring music, a darker story unfolds, one that few dare to question. This is the story of how faith, trust, and generosity have been twisted into tools for unimaginable wealth and power. Today, I'm exposing the most corrupt churches in America, institutions that have turned the promise of salvation into a billion-dollar business, leaving broken lives and shattered dreams in their wake. If you think this is just about a few bad apples, think again. The scale of this corruption is staggering. From private jets and sprawling mansions to offshore accounts and silenced whistleblowers, the truth is more shocking than most people can imagine. And yet, every week, millions still tune in, donate, and believe. How did we get here? How did places meant for worship become empires of excess? And what happens to those who dare to ask questions? To understand the scale, we need to understand the phenomenon of the American megachurch. A megachurch isn't just a big church. It's a religious powerhouse, often with more than 2,000 weekly attendees. But numbers alone don't tell the whole story. Mega churches are run like corporations. They have marketing teams, media departments, and multi-million-dollar budgets. Their pastors are celebrities, their services are broadcast to millions, and their influence stretches far beyond the pulpit. In cities across America, these churches rise like monuments, glass and steel cathedrals, complete with coffee shops, bookstores, and even fitness centers. But it wasn't always this way. The rise of the megachurch is a recent phenomenon, fueled by American optimism, entrepreneurial spirit, and, crucially, television. In the 1970s and 80s, televangelists like Jim Bakker and Jimmy Swaggart pioneered the art of preaching to the camera, turning Sunday sermons into primetime entertainment. Donations poured in, and soon the line between ministry and business began to blur. At the heart of many mega churches is a message known as the prosperity gospel. It's a simple but powerful idea. God wants you to be rich. If you have enough faith, and crucially, if you give enough money, blessings will flow into your life. Health, wealth, happiness, success, all are promised to those who sow their seed into the ministry. It's a message tailor-made for the American dream. In a country built on the promise of upward mobility, the prosperity gospel offers a spiritual shortcut to success. No longer is poverty a test of faith. Now it's a sign of spiritual failure. If you're struggling, it's because you haven't believed hard enough or given enough. This theology didn't emerge in a vacuum. It grew out of the Word of Faith movement, blending Pentecostal fervor with self-help optimism and a dash of New Thought philosophy. Preachers like Kenneth Copeland, Benny Hinn, and Joel Osteen became household names, their sermons broadcast to millions, their books topping bestseller lists. But behind the promises of abundance lies a darker reality. For every testimony of miraculous wealth, there are countless stories of disappointment, debt, and despair. The prosperity gospel turns faith into a transaction, and for those at the top, it's a transaction that pays off handsomely. Let's talk about the faces behind the movement. Kenneth Copeland, for example, is one of the most recognizable and controversial figures in American Christianity. His ministry owns a private airport, a fleet of jets, and a lakeside mansion worth millions. When confronted by journalists about his lavish lifestyle, Copeland's response was chilling. "I can't do God's work flying commercial. I'd have to stop 65% of what I'm doing." Then there's Creflo Dollar, whose name has become synonymous with the prosperity gospel. In 2015, Dollar made headlines when he asked his congregation to help him buy a $65 million Gulfstream jet. The response? Applause and donations. Critics were outraged, but for his followers, Dollar's wealth was proof that the message worked. Benny Hinn, another televangelist superstar, claims to perform miracles at his healing crusades. He lives in a mansion, travels by private jet, and has been investigated multiple times for financial impropriety. Yet his followers remain fiercely loyal, convinced that their donations are buying them a piece of God's favor. And these are just the most visible examples. Across the country, lesser-known pastors have been caught embezzling funds, laundering money, and exploiting their congregations for personal gain. The methods may vary, but the pattern is the same. Faith is used as a tool for enrichment, and those who question are often silenced or shamed.
But how do these churches convince millions to give and keep giving even when the promises don't come true? The answer lies in a sophisticated blend of psychology, social pressure, and emotional manipulation. First, there's the use of testimonies, stories of miraculous breakthroughs, often staged or exaggerated, that create an atmosphere of expectation. If it happened for them, it can happen for you. All you have to do is believe and give. Then there's the concept of sowing a seed. This isn't just a donation, it's an investment in your own future. Preachers promise that every dollar given will return 100-fold, turning the offering plate into a spiritual slot machine. Social pressure plays a huge role as well. In these massive congregations, giving is often public, with donors recognized and celebrated from the stage. No one wants to be seen as lacking faith, so the pressure to give, and to give more, becomes overwhelming. And finally, there's the promise of exclusivity. Followers are told that they are part of a chosen group, set apart from the doubters and critics. Questioning the pastor is equated with questioning God himself, a dangerous mindset that allows abuse to flourish unchecked. Follow the money, and you'll find a trail that leads not to charity, but to luxury. Church credit cards are used for luxury travel, designer clothes, and fine dining. In some cases, church funds are funneled into real estate empires, private investments, or even offshore accounts. The lack of financial transparency creates fertile ground for abuse, and the victims are often those who can least afford it. Real victims, stories, and conclusion. What can be done? Behind every statistic, there is a human story. For every millionaire pastor, there are thousands of ordinary people whose lives have been upended by the promises of prosperity gospel. Some take out loans, max out credit cards, or even go without basic necessities in order to sow a seed into the ministry. The result? A cycle of poverty and dependence that benefits only those at the top. But not everyone is willing to stay silent. Over the years, a handful of brave individuals have risked everything to expose the corruption within America's churches. Some are former insiders, pastors, accountants, or staff members who could no longer ignore what they saw. They've leaked documents, testified in court, and spoken to the media, often at great personal cost. So, what can be done? The answer begins with awareness and accountability. Churches that operate as nonprofits should be held to the same standards of disclosure as other charities. Donors have a right to know how their money is being spent, and leaders must be willing to open their books to independent audits. Lawmakers must ensure that religious organizations are not above the law, and that those who exploit their positions for personal gain are held accountable. Exposing corruption in America's churches is not an attack on faith, it's a defense of it. True spirituality is not measured by the size of a congregation or the wealth of its leaders, but by the impact it has on the lives of ordinary people. The fight against corruption is ongoing, but it begins with each of us by asking questions, demanding transparency, and refusing to be silent in the face of injustice.